There they are.
There we are.
All right. I was reading.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Those Wednesdays are long days. I was talking to Mike about that. We get on the road by 6 a.m. and we got home. I mean, I was in the door 11. By maybe after 11.
I'm telling you. And did you guys get sick when you travel like this? I was saying, I said earlier, I'm miserable right now. And I think it's because came in from Florida, Isaiah and I got a million things to do. And I'm running down. I'm just, I'm just going. And
you're switching pollen, Florida pollen, Missouri pollen.
And
allergens. He doesn't drink as much coffee as me either.
I got the pounding headache going on today. I'm suffering through. I'm suffering because I want to hear from you guys now. You can talk about whatever you want, but I do want to hear about this 32 subject bill that you said. So for the people that don't know what goes on in Missouri politics, in our Constitution, it is supposed to be single subject bills. I like Bryant Wolf, and I don't know how you guys feel about Bryant Wolf, but I'm a big fan of his. And he said, Rob, they don't really care about single subject bills. They're always throwing it in there. And they just said, let the courts figure it out. I'm like, well, they don't follow the Constitution. He goes, no, I don't care about the Constitution. I said, well, isn't that interesting? You make an oath to the Constitution and then you just shred it out. We'll let the courts figure it out. If somebody wants to sue us, we have more money than them. We'll take them to court. We'll bleed them dry and we'll get whatever we want. I guess that's the new strategy. What is going on with this 32 subject crazy bill?
Monday, we declared that Omnibus season is open. So it's actually been open all session this year, but it's truly open now.
Let it rip.
They all know it, and they're one of the most disgusting displays I've seen watching the Missouri House on Tuesday was this bill, and it was let me make sure I give all the right information here. It was Senate Bill 1421, and the House took it up. And so this bill started out, the title of this bill was relating to the unlawful use of unmanned aircraft in certain areas. And so the idea that this bill was for drones not to be flown over sporting events, and especially with the World Cup coming up. And so that's actually a very specific title for what we normally get. So started out right. It was like 5-page bill, pretty simple. Well, we're still trying to confirm this, but one of my thoughts was that, well, maybe they need this language in law to get federal money to help for the security for the World Cup, because it does have an emergency clause that they put in it, which means that as soon as the governor signs it, it comes into effect. So that being said, that's kind of my working theory as to why what I witnessed on Tuesday happened. So
can we show people what you're talking about? What you're talking about? If you don't mind, Isaiah, where is it? What do I do with my paperwork? Oh, it's Act for Missouri.
Number 6.
We did post that.
Where is it?
Number 6, right? This.
Yeah, but why can't I find it on my paper? It just drives me crazy.
Is this it on
this is actually a different bill. So
this is another one.
This is the healthcare one.
The right one.
But I think this example's even
good Lord,
more pertinent to what we're
Did you just say good Lord?
Yes. What fascinates me that they what fascinates me about it is, there's several people that go, don't say they're good people. They're not good people. If they're doing this to you, they're not good people. And I just think they're kind of trapped in a bad system. But I got people that get very upset with me when I say that. And then I see these kind of things and I think, what kind of public servant would just completely ignore the Missouri Constitution just to take it out of context and just do whatever you want? It's just like they think that they're smarter than everybody, it seems to me. And it just bothers me when I see these kind of things.
I think it's just been allowed to go on for so long, and no one's ever really called them out like people are doing now, that we've got an awareness. It's unconstitutional. People are mentioning it. I think up to this point, it's just something you came in, they told you this is how it's done, and you go, oh, okay, without much thought. Now it's a pattern, and so we're interrupting this pattern, and that's why we see all the pushback and everyone's like, you're interrupting, what we normally do. So
if groups like us and the Shield Maidens and your group, Rob, don't point this out, where would they ever hear it? They're not going to, these guys aren't going to come back to your Lincoln days and your 4th of July picnics and tell you, hey, guess what we did,
Yes. And then, that's the other thing is, I promote you guys because I don't think there is I can't get it done without you guys. You know, we talked about it when I first started my organization. I said, I don't have the ability to go down there and research and do this. I don't even know that I could, even if I wanted to. I don't know if I have the brain power to do that.
Well, let me tell you, brain power is a real question. And it's so funny. I got to tell you something really kind of side, but so we were posting, we were bantering back on social media. And somebody's like, well, you're not transparent. You don't even have your bios on your website. And you know what? I thought, why? First of all, it's not about me. And what do you want me to put down there? Taxpayer, wife,
Citizen.
cat owner, citizen. I don't have a PhD. So this is out there to all of you who think that you can't push or demand or get involved because, well, you don't have a degree or you don't understand. Don't buy that.
Yeah. Well, they try to diminish you. It's been
of course.
I saw that. I thought it was funny, Amy. I thought that was hilarious when they
Wasn't
said
that crazy?
I mean, yeah, who cares?
Right? Like it matters. Like, oh, I don't have a right to speak or I don't have a right to question. I thought,
That's what people said to me.
What a pompous, you know what statement, right?
Yeah, that's what people said to me during my campaign because I'm an entrepreneur and I've run businesses and I started businesses, but they're like, you don't have a business degree.
Oh, well, let me tell you.
Okay.
I've met some people with business degrees that can't sell their.
I hired people with MBAs.
Right.
You realize I'm kind of in the same boat. I think I'm a street smart person, right?
Yeah.
You know, you just kind of recognize patterns and you go, okay, well, this is what's happening here. Now I get a gist of what's going down. But there are a lot of people that think you have to have 7 degrees on your wall to have an opinion. And I'm with you. You just have to be interested. You have to pay attention. You bring the information out to everybody in Missouri. And I think you're like me. You bring the information out, you give your opinion on it, but you're like, do whatever you want with it.
Absolutely.
You're not down here. We're watching how these people react. We're watching what they do. Yep. And we're a service to the people of Missouri. If you want to know what's going on in your government, you want to know who you're paying the taxes to, you want to know how your streets are being run, you want to know what's going down in the state of Missouri, we're going to give you that information. We're going to put it on our web. And I love your website. I tell every time I talk to you, I just love your website. And the people can make decisions the way they want to make decisions. It's that simple.
And it's the same way with the elected. If we go and have a conversation with a senator or a representative, we never tell them how to vote. We tell them what we have researched, what we think, what our concerns are. And then if they even say, well, I'm not sure how to vote on this, we are silent. That is not our job. That's their job.
I like that. And I saw, I guess one of the minuscule good things that came out of this budget, at least the way I'm understanding it, is they did cut some money out of the budget. That's what they're saying. I don't know if that's true, but I heard several of these Republican senators saying, we cut. See, am I wrong?
Robb,
all right.
Come on. Optimistic. Bless his heart. He's like, of course they did the right thing. Of course they did.
They said that for the first time in forever, they cut the budget a little bit, and then I saw conflicting information. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what to believe anymore. They're telling me they cut the budget, and other people are saying you didn't cut the budget.
Well, the total number I heard was $50.7 billion, which is about where we ended up at this point last year, and then they added $3.3 billion at the start of this session to supplement it to get them through to the end of the year. So. The final number we can't really say until we see what they do at the start of next session. If they bring in another supplemental, we did hear that they used up the last of the surplus that Missouri had. So where the auditor was thinking we could make it through 2028, well, no,
apparently not.
They went ahead and used it because they needed it.
Was there any talk at all? Because this is just something that I'm curious about. Was there any talk at all about the elections? This is one thing that just drives me crazy is I can't say that Missouri elections are being manipulated. I can't say that because I don't understand the way they run the elections in the state of Missouri, and I would like to understand how they run them. And it's just a big push for me because when you see these things that are going wrong, I played a clip earlier where Shannon Joy said, how can Donald Trump not be concerned about the midterms? He's got, according to even the conservative pollsters, he's got a 23% approval rating with independents. So you would think that if you're going to turn over the House and the Senate at this time, you'd be freaking out about it, or at least be, trying to figure something out that would raise your approval ratings. It doesn't seem like they care. And I say the same thing about the people that are running the show down in Jefferson City. We point out all of these things. They don't seem to really care at all.
Well, I will say, we were hopeful at the start of the session. Ben Brown had a hand counting bill. I don't believe it even got a hearing in the Senate. So it was great. He filed the bill, but there was no interest in them ever.
Well, here's where I'm at, and I'm kind of this conspiracy theorist. What if both sides want the elections to be like this?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I agree
Because,
with.
for example, that video that we did, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So all the righteous Dems that get on our page and they say, "Oh, vote blue, vote blue." Okay, vote blue. Well, guess what? There were Democrats that also left the floor and didn't take that vote for cameras.
Correct.
So they don't want, and their big dollar donors don't want the same thing that the Republican big dollars want. You know, and that just, I get so mad with that. 'Cause I'm like, if you sit here and you think your side is better than the other side, you are sadly mistaken.
Well, that you're making my argument that I make when I talk to these Republicans. I say, listen, I want the elections. I want you guys to make hay with the elections, and not just in Missouri, but around the country. Florida has the same issue, and I say the reason it feels like it's a one-party system controlled by money is if you have all these grassroots organizations that do have a following. I mean, we have followings. People pay attention to what we say. We create a lot of controversy online. We were constantly challenging these people. They snap back at you all the time because they're upset. I said, if I'm a Democrat and I see this kind of break within the Republican grassroots and the establishment in the Republican Party, I'm going to wedge myself right in the middle of that and take the side of the grassroots who are always getting beat up and say, yeah, we should have, if the Republicans are running everything, we agree with the grassroots, these elections are being manipulated, and the Democrats would kind of latch onto that idea and push the story to get the elections, like I said, hand counted, paper ballots, state holiday, video surveillance of going in and out. So, how many, if there's 75 people that go into a polling place and there's 90 votes, well, then we know we have a problem. Nice and simple. It's not like you don't know who anybody voted for. You're not infringing on anybody's rights, but it gives you a sense of what is happening within the election system. But the Democrats don't take it up. And I've talked to the Democrats about it too. They don't take it up either. So it makes me wonder, is it just big money and they have control of the elections? They're going to get their tax bill passed. They're going to get whatever they want passed when it goes to the ballots because it's being manipulated in certain counties.
It seems like the big stuff that gets done at Jeff City gets done with the support of both parties. And
and I guess you have to put on that discussion, there's always the term bipartisan or work across the aisle. And I suppose to some degree, we all coexist together, and so we have to do that. But when you see it in such excess, and then what they're passing doesn't seem doesn't seem like good policy, then it starts to make you question what's going on, what's really going on.
That's another question. I want to get to your. We're going to play that post that you put out there, but it feels like what we're trying to do. You, me, Shield Mains. There's a few of us. I like Unite for Freedom. There's a few grassroots that I really like. What we're trying to do is accomplish what they say that they want to get done.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part about it. What they say that they want to get done, we agree. And then when they don't do it and we point it out, they say we just don't understand the system, I guess. We're wrong. We didn't read the information correctly. And it's just, and I'm like, it's deflating because a lot of these people and you want to love them. You'd like to like these people and you like to say, okay, you're doing the right thing. But it's just hard for me to get there when they double the budget, right? They pass bills that we know are not single subject. They pass bills that we know are going to get, they should be anyway, get shot down by the Supreme Court. They do these things over and over again, and they get more and more upset with us for pointing it out. And it makes me wonder what the agenda is, or if there's an agenda at all, if it's just top down. Mike Kehoe sets the precedent, or Cindy O'Loughlin, or John Patterson, they set the agenda, and then the people go to work to get it figured out, which is
I think there's a little bit of that. I think there's quite a bit.
You showed it in your video, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the final count on whether we were going to have transparency in the Senate with the live stream video, the score was 12-11.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And as you get to watch 2 or 3 people get up to make sure the score was 12-11.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not much else to add to that.
I mean,
you agree to it. You agree to a degree. You agree to a degree. Let's look at this post that you put up because I thought it was really good, especially if you're a Missouri voter and you see these things kind of go down. How many people you think know anything about the Missouri government, though? Do you guys, when you guys tell people what you do, and you're around friends, family, or you might meet people at dinner or a store or something, how many people have any understanding of Missouri politics? Before I got into radio, I didn't have a clue what was going on in Jefferson City, just on total cruise control.
Not much, but we are seeing that people are realizing that there's something wrong. They just don't understand enough to know
what to do,
where the issue's at. And And of course, all the news media that people get is about the federal government. Your
Yes.
papers focus on the federal government. There's very little focus on what's going on in the state. And so that's one thing that we realize. But when we explain to people, what a single subject bill, our Constitution, the people that framed the Missouri Constitution actually gave us a good foundation to build on. The problem is we've ignored it. And fortunately, it looks like we might have a Supreme Court right now. They're starting to throw some of these out. Of course, they have to be challenged, which is the key. And that's what I think our legislatures count on, is that nobody's going to spend the money to go and do it. Well, there are some groups that are spending the money, and on some conservative groups that are spending the money to challenge these now too.
I'd be curious the law firms, because I just want to plant something in your head to see if it plays with you. Remember when we had that, I think it was some form of bill to protect kids, and she came on my show and she said, they need to clean up the language here, because theoretically, if they don't clean up the language, you could say that somebody who didn't get their kids vaccinated are harming their kids, and they just need to fix that legislation. Well, they didn't want to fix that they didn't want to fix the wording, and they had a couple opportunities to do it with no harm, no foul, and they just didn't want to do it. And I said to myself, well, why would you not want to do that? I know Nick Schroer. I worked with him. Nick Schroer does not believe in, we've talked about it. He doesn't believe that kids should be vaccinated for forced vaccinations, because we had conversations before. But he also is an attorney, and he might like the idea that language is open, because if it ever comes down the pipe, now you got the attorneys to get involved, and now you make a bunch of money fighting the Missouri government, right? The law firms take it on. It would be great for trial attorneys, right? And I thought, well, maybe that's the reason. Maybe they like to leave this language just a little bit in limbo, because if anybody ever suing is good for trial attorneys. They like lawsuits. That really works well to their benefit. And it's the only reason I could come up with, because I did not see Nick as somebody who thinks that we should be mandating by force children. That's not where he's coming from. And yet they did not want to clean up that language at all. I think two bites at that apple, and neither time did they want to fix it.
Yeah. And that's the kind of thing that sets off flags in our heads whenever we see that, because that seemed like such a common sense fix too. And it didn't change the purpose of the bill. It didn't change anything really fundamentally about the bill. It just added some clarification to protect parents. And
right. Because you don't know how it's going to come down. We got this hantavirus, right? So they got the hantavirus coming out, right? And they're going to scare people to death. They're already starting that campaign. And when people get scared, they get crazy. We saw it during COVID, and here you could have the same situation here. You're not going to get your kids the hantavirus vaccine. What are you, crazy? I can't send my kids to school with you. And then all of a sudden, the parents are on their heels, going, "I guess I got to get the hantavirus vaccine or genetic therapy or whatever." You kind of see it start to develop. And if it doesn't happen with this one, what's going to happen 5 years? Because we already got past COVID, like it never happened. Everybody acts like it was just a figment.
That's a theory. And then I think another, that as I'm sitting here thinking about this, I do know with some of the bills, like the AI bills that came in, the White House actually reached out to the senator. So there's a possibility that the federal reached out to Schroer. I'm just speculating, okay? I have no evidence for this. And I want to be very clear to everybody.
Yep.
But, they said, you need to keep that, we want that in there. I mean, it's hard to know exactly how much our new world order government controls the state.
If you talk to somebody who's been doing this even longer than us, like Lisa Panett, she's learned to realize that next year's bills build on this year's bills, and they just they don't always go for the whole thing that they're wanting in one piece.
Right.
They're just putting little pieces in here and there that eventually you can start to see the shape of the puzzle that's coming together. And so
that's another question you lead me to, because we talked about it a little bit yesterday with one of our guests. What is your take now on the term limits in the state of Missouri? Is this working out the way we had it planned? Because it seems to me what they're doing is, I was just watching social media, and one of the senators said that was, I think it was Mike Costolo, as a matter of fact. He said that was we're trying to clean up the mess of the previous Congress. And I said, well, that might be true, but that could work out really nice, because if I just mess everything up and then I'm out of office, I can blame everything that's happening on the previous person. This chain begins to roll, and now nobody's really responsible for anything, because they've made something that is in the future, and then when it happens, everybody's
Rob. Let's go back to where you started before about the elections. Let's clean up the elections, and then we won't need term limits. I think
that's where I always go.
I think if we had faith in our elections and that they were being run properly, and we would have people participate. I think one of the reasons people don't participate is because they don't trust them. They don't think it matters. And then to me, the discussion of term limits becomes moot if we have good elections where people are participating.
Right.
And I don't, go ahead.
Sorry,
I don't understand this argument with term limits. We vote. These people aren't in for life. We vote them in, we vote them out. I think we have to be really, really careful with this term limit idea, because think about this. If we're turning over candidates, who's going to run?
Right.
You think you're going to get good people? I'm like, people, you're lazy. Get out and vote and fight for your elections.
Well,
Fight for it. I mean, get up. I'm wake up. I want to do Roseanne Barr. We're like, snap out of it, people.
Snap out of it, everybody. I feel the same way because, for probably 20 something years, people know that I'm very heavily invested in politics. I have a strong opinion on things. I work hard, and I don't mind debating people. I don't mind having confrontational arguments or kind arguments, whatever you want to do. So people have said, you should run for office. You should run for office. And for years, I thought about, should I run for office? And I look at it now, and I've made this comment before. I couldn't ask people for money to run because I don't know if the elections are going to be run properly. So how can I go out and say, hey, give me $25,000. I'm going to be your next senator, or I'm going to run for whatever office, because I don't trust it. I just couldn't with a straight face ask people for money. That's just me. And there's some good friends of mine that are running and they're trying to make a difference. I personally could not go out and raise, $300,000-$400,000 from people in this election system because I don't trust it. And I think, why would I want to run in a system? You'd have to get the referees organized before I play the game. And they don't have.
Again, it goes back to that thinking, the citizens thinking, if we just get the right person in there, that's got to stop. You're throwing them into an evil machine. Yes, and so we're just spending good people, get in there and demand systemic change. I know that's a term for all the leftists on there. I used a socialist term, systemic change.
I agree with you. You and I are the same.
But and that requires, I don't know, pressure, like you said.
Our system of government,
they're not going to change it on their own.
Our system of government is for the people, but it's by the people. It requires the people's participation. If people think they can just vote somebody in and then check out completely, that's not the way our system was meant to work. And
proven not to work.
Until we get back to that and educate people that they have to be involved in whatever level they're able to be involved in, but everybody can be involved at some level and at least be checking and holding their own representatives accountable, then it's not going to, we can't change the system until the people make the change to do that.
You got to fix that system first. Okay, I want to do this with you because when I saw this, it blew my mind, and a lot of people shared it yesterday. And you guys are getting very popular. So you're coming through my feed a lot. I like this. I like that Equity is getting some traction finally. Pop that up for me if you don't mind, Isaiah, because this is the bill that you were talking about that caught my attention. It caught several people's attention because it's it's supposed to be a single subject bill. And you said HB 2372, one bill, 32 subjects. And then if you can fast forward down there just a little bit, Isaiah, look at all of the different.
I know, isn't it crazy? Look at the subjects.
Yes, select in there. So health-related awareness month days, municipal hospitals, allergy, ambulance district, community paramedic services, and it goes on 32 different subjects is the way you guys see it. And I guess
what was the title? What was the title on that bill?
I think they changed it to public health or something like that.
Okay, so this is the other thing. We have to know what the definition. Public health is a category, not a subject.
Right.
And that's how they're doing. And then they're like, oh, well, that all has to do with it. We need to go back and I guess learn grammar and understand what subject means.
Yeah, because when you said subject, I talked about this on the radio because you guys taught me everything. You and the Shield Maidens taught me what I know. And then I hear from the politicians too, because they were, they talk to me and I hear them and I'm like, your argument's not as strong as theirs. Their argument is better than yours. And I started to recognize that. And that's just the way it is played out in my mind.
Let me go back to this other bill and just give the title, what it started out and what they changed the title to. So it started out the unlawful use of unmanned aircraft in certain areas. They changed the title on Tuesday after they realized this wasn't going to fly to just simply public safety. and Representative Wolfman did get up on the floor and he pointed out public safety is not a title, it is a category. and he tried to explain it. And of course, they just kept running to the mic, holding up their bills. I've got an amendment. I've got an amendment. I mean that.
And why do they do that? Why do they want all these amendments thrown in?
Because these are bills that
they know have to go through.
We're down to the end of the session. They know that they aren't going to pass on their own. Some of them have maybe gotten a hearing, and that's it. So they see a bill that they know has to pass, that will pass. And if I don't know if Isaiah can pull it up, but on that healthcare bill, one of our followers on X posted a video from the committee hearing from that bill sponsor, and she says, "Look, this bill is I want it to be a Christmas tree. Everybody bring your ornaments and put it on my bill." And
yep.
And so that's the attitude. And we were hearing that leadership was encouraging them to bring their bills and pile them onto that bill on Tuesday that we saw.
Wow. And my favorite, the one thing that you brought to my attention that I absolutely love, and I bring it up every time I see your face, Mike, is when I heard you say this, it blew my mind. You said that with Republican legislation, a percentage of Democrats vote with Republican legislation more so than the Republicans themselves do. And that blew my mind. Now it's a smaller number, but I'm going to remind everybody, when you think there is two parties going on here, just think about this for a second. A Republican introduces legislation. The entire body is going to vote on it. And as a percentage, more Democrats vote for Republican legislation than the Republicans themselves. Just think about that.
We were blown away with that because we just went in with a theory. I said, let's go with the theory it's a uniparty. Let's see if we can find the evidence for that. What would show that? And Mike, with his great, tech skills and research skills, said, okay, the data should show it. And I'm like, all right. So in we go. And he goes, you're not going to believe it. You're right. 60%. I'm like, you got to be kidding. Maybe it is a uniparty. We're making the speculations and citizens thinking like, well, could it be this? Could it be that? And so then we just go dig and say, let's see. And lo and behold, we were
fascinating piece of research. I appreciate it. All right, you guys, I've got to get this guy on. He is. You can check this out. When you said uniparty, I'm going to play this clip. Where do people find you? actformo.org, actformo.org. If people want to donate to you, which I highly suggest they do, I'm going to do everything I can to raise money for you guys. I think that my show benefits from your ability to explain what's going on down there. So I'll tie my show and I'll continue to promote.
We appreciate it. We're just covering expenses. Nobody's taking management fees. This is not my job.
And everything we put out for free. So there's no paywall. There's no subscription to join.
Share it, post it,
I would assume like me, you were losing money.
Oh, absolutely. I know some of the groups that are backed by billionaires are questioning who sponsors us. And believe me, if we had a budget, if we had just their monthly budget in our total existence, right, I can only imagine the stuff we could do because
then they'd really be on the run.
That's what I'm saying. It's the same thing I say about People's Lab in Missouri. If you fund us, we'll do the work for you. We'll make things happen, but we have the ability to do it. It's not easy. Even to run a website, you got to have time and money. If you want to go down to Jefferson City, it costs time and money. If you want to do a broadcast like this, we just spent $3,000-$4,000 just on cameras so that we put the show on. Yeah. Everything that we're doing costs money, and I don't want to beg. I'm not a beggar.
We're not. Yeah, no, we're good.
He tells me all the time. Isaiah gets mad at me. He goes, "You got to promote it." He goes, "Every time you promote it, he goes, you got to do it all." I'm like, I'm uncomfortable doing that. But I appreciate what you guys do. When you talk about uniparty, the next guy we're going to bring in is running for the vacated space.
Right.
Nancy Mace. He's coming in, and this guy's got a phenomenal campaign going on, and he talks about the uniparty. So we're going to play that clip, just something you put out onto social media. Great to see you guys.
Good to see you, Rob.
All you guys do. I'll be in touch with you.
Feel better.
Yep. Thank you. Have a great day. Okay.
Bye.
All right. Let's